I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk, and I'm not a jerk. Apparently, I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast coming to you on a Tuesday night record, which pisses me off. That's right, I'm angry, folks. I don't like recording at night. It's ridiculous. It's just dark, and I don't. I was going to say I don't do my best work at night, but that doesn't sound good at all. But I certainly don't talk well at night. I don't sound good. I sound different to me. I sound darker. No, that seems weird. It's Tuesday night, and it's not my fault. I didn't want to do this, but Lily von Stupp could not record on Wednesday because she has family in town. Her brother Victor von Stupp is in town, and by the way, he also so tired. Tired of playing the game. And by the way, not too awkward, but he's been in here right now. And he's not here now, like I can see him. He's in the other room, but I come here to record the podcast, and he and his ponytail are fucking lurking in the kitchen. And I'm like, okay, this seems awkward and strange. I hope he's not going to fucking stick around. But then Lily goes, hey, you've got two choices. You can either stay in here and watch us record the podcast, or you can go watch television in the other room with a headset on. And I'm like, go watch television. It's much more interesting. He's like, I don't mind standing in here. No, you don't mind standing in here. I'm sure you don't. You're in town for a week. You're looking to clam onto anything that looks like it could possibly be show business. But this is not it, friend. Because he actually said that. He goes, I like Hollywood and all the things that are like that. This isn't Hollywood. This is a fucking moron with a headset on. That's what it is. You could see this at the drive-thru. Go get a taco. You'll see the same goddamn thing. But yet he continued to stand there in his Hawaiian shirt and stare. And I was going to leap into action. I was going to sweep the leg and just fucking dry shave him. I was like so fucking creeped out. Because he's staring at me, and I'm like, oh, get out. Just get out. And Lily's like, oh, it's okay if you stay here. No, it's not okay. I understand you're the producer, and it's your house, and thank you, and it's nice that you're having me here to do all this, but get him the fuck out of here before I throw him through a goddamn window. So, that seems aggressive, but that's how I felt, and I can't get over it. And I can still see him. Like, he's in the other room, and he's like, Lily's trying to get in front of him, but it ain't working. And he's Lily's brother, so it looks like Lily with a beard. And he has a much smaller rack, though, which is good news. He'd have to, wouldn't he? I mean, she's got a Volkswagen in her shirt. All right, so I'm here, and it's strange. And also, this is a Tuesday record. Let's put it this way. It's a Tuesday record because of said brother and family ties, and Michael J. Fox and Brian Bonsall. But it is a nighttime record thanks to the good folks over at DirecTV, who gave me that speech where I was like, hey, I need you. I'm having a pixelated picture. And I think we all learned last week, alliteration is awful. So I said to them, I have a pixelated picture. They're like, well, that won't do. And I said, well, then can you send a guy out? They said, certainly. And I called them last week. I called them last Tuesday. And I said, can you send a guy out? They said, sure, we can have a guy there in a week. Because apparently satellite dishes all over the county have been falling off buildings and they need emergency service. I don't know why it took a fucking week to get a guy out to see me, to climb on the roof and tighten a bolt, but it did. So they said, okay. And not only this is even better. They narrow it down to a week. They're like, we'll have him there next Tuesday. And again, they dropped that. Cable, see, this is why DirecTV is so much better than cable. Cable tells you need somebody to be there between 9 and 5. Haha, not DirecTV. DirecTV breaks it up. They go, we can have somebody there between 8 and 12 or 12 and 5. Well, thanks. I appreciate that's really cool of you to give me that double window. Let's see. Let me get my calendar out. That's 7 days from now, Tuesday. Let me pencil you guys in. Fuck that. Come fix my television. So I tell them to come in the afternoon. And 12 and 5 apparently means 4:59. Because that's when Joe Ladder shows up with the van, and I got to let him in the back. And then he's like, hey, what's wrong? And I told him there's a pixelated picture. And he said, boy, alliteration's awful. I better get on that roof. And he saddles up. And I live in an apartment building, so he has to actually like mount a ladder and climb up on the roof. It's 2 stories, so he's got to. And that just nerves the fuck out of me watching those guys. First of all, they get that ladder out, and then it's a weird ladder, like it's a double ladder, but then there's a lever where they got to like. That's the noise it makes, by the way. It when you crank it, it says the name of the donkey from Winnie the Pooh. It just so they have to crank this ladder up, and then they got to climb up. I mean, I have a weird vertigo heights thing. It's not as bad as my buddy Pat. My friend Pat can't ride an escalator because if he looks over the side, he's going to fall or get dizzy or jump. And he will not ride an escalator. Like, he freaks out. There's one movie theater we go to in particular that has an escalator. And although the last time we went, he rode it. And I go, what happened to you and your thing? And he's like, I don't look. And so then I spend the whole time going, oh, dude, take a look. We're going up, going higher. Because I'm a jagoff. So we, I should understand that weird thing because I get that on a like a roof or when I'm high up. I want to jump. That might have something to do with the fact that I have no money and I'm working in an internet podcast for free. But actually, no, because I've wanted to jump since I was a kid. So, I mean, it's deep-seated. I don't know why, but I get that weird vertigo head thing, and I just want to fucking leap. So then I see this guy got to scale like a 2-story ladder, and it's up against my building. And here's my favorite part about the guy. He knows he's got to go up, but he parks his van in the only place where you could put the ladder up without looking into a window. So he guaranteed that he was going to get a full-on shot into somebody's fucking house. And that's got to be creepy. Look, it's only the 2nd floor, but if you look out the window and all of a sudden there's fucking Batman, climbing up the side of the building with his wrenches hanging, and that don't think I don't mean cock, because I mean he lets the hammer out and climbs the ladder. So it's a hammer ladder. Anyway, he climbs up, he peers into the house, and then I say, fix my thing. So he gets on the roof. He goes up there, and then let me explain something. This happens all the time, the pixelated picture. Not all the time. It happens 4 times a year. And then they come, and they go on the roof for 5 minutes, and then they fix it, and then they go home. This guy, apparently is Captain Efficiency. He climbs up on the top. He's up there for about 9 minutes, which is long, because I said I would wait. And then he comes down, and he grabs another satellite dish out of his fucking van, and he measures out this long cord, and he takes that on the roof. I'm like... And I didn't say anything. I'm just like, all right, well, he must know what he's doing. You know, what the fun? Like, I mean, nobody wants to climb up that ladder all fucking day, so the fact that he's going back up means it has to be done. So he goes back up, and he takes another 25 minutes doing that. Comes downstairs, pixelated picture fixed in the bedroom, pixelated picture not fixed in the living room. And he then calls headquarters, tells them that they tell him he needs to swap out the box. I don't know what the fuck happened. Bottom line is, they didn't do dick. They went ahead and fixed it, and they didn't fix it, and I told them to get the fuck out of my house. Gave him a Propel and told him to leave because it was just fucking driving me insane after literally 2 hours of him fucking around. And I knew I had to get here and do this podcast and bring this horribly boring story to you folks. So suffice it to say, in the bedroom now I got a pixelated picture, and it's nighttime, and it's a nighttime record, which I fucking hate. So I blame DirecTV. I blame Lily, and in a small way, I fucking blame you people. Take that right in the face, okay? Enjoy it. I blame Lily's brother. That's who I blame. Sitting there looking like fucking James Lipton and Jan Michael Vincent had a kid. All right. He does. He looks exactly like him. It's so funny. Like, the show is also like, I'm used to Lily laughing at the show, but now she won't laugh because I'm talking about her brother. So it's like, I'll talk about it, and she just like looks like, and she makes this weird like curled lip face and can't wait to go, sew sequins onto something. All right, so Lily Von Strupp's birthday yesterday, birthday show at the Monday Night Tease. I don't know if I plugged it last week. I think I did. Yeah, the Laugh-In show. And my wife made her burlesque debut last night, and by burlesque debut I mean she wore her clothes, because if she was naked I'd still be there punching people. I don't know. There'd be part of me that would be like, this is great, I'm going to fuck her right here, and then part of me would be like, hey, everybody close your fucking eyes immediately, because I don't know what you think you're fucking looking at. 710, you just help a note that says 710? Oh, 10. I was like, it's either a freeway or it's we're taking the 710 to Yuma. What the hell's happening? But I'm at the 10-minute mark, folks. 10 minutes of talking about DirecTV and a story that had no payoff. All right. The Tuesday night record. It changes everything. It's hot in here. Her house is hot. It's just fucking, this is awful. I quit. That's it. I'm done. It's funny. I played poker over the weekend. I played with, and here's who was at the poker table with me, folks. There's a couple of other people, but I will tell you that I'm playing poker with Jimmy Pardo and Jimmy Dore and Pat Francis and Paul Goebel and me. And then our friends Jack and Chip and also Mike Siegel, the very handsome Mike Siegel. And as we were playing, it got to talking about, like, podcasts were discussed. And Jack Thomas is like, boy, what's it all these podcasts? Like, and I was like, look, seriously, that's all anybody here at the table has right now is podcasts, except Mike Siegel, who has 9 fucking television shows. So he doesn't need to do a podcast because people can see him through traditional medium. He's not concerned with new media. Unless you go to funnymike.com, and there you'll see a drawing of Mike Siegel. That's right. The most handsome man I know has marketed himself with a caricature. I don't get it. I would have my fucking cheekbones buffed and shined to a high polish on the front page of my fucking site, but apparently he went cartoon. Thought that would help. Good luck, Mike. All right, so, but we were playing poker the other night, and it dawned on me, the thought dawned on me, if somehow, as our friend Chip made jalapeno poppers for all of us, because he's apparently the woman of the group, I thought, what if he left the gas on, and there was an explosion of some sort, a spark happened, and there was an explosion? The top 100 comedy podcasts would have a huge hole blown right through the fucking middle of them. You're losing me. You're losing your Jimmy Pardo and Pat Francis, the mainstays, the bulwarks of Never Not Funny. You're losing Jimmy Dore and his comedy and everything else, and you're losing Paul Goebel, who maybe gets into the top 100 at that point. Sorry, all right, that's mean. That's not. But actually, no, he doesn't, because he loses all of his guests in that blast. Except for Graham Elwood, who's incredibly brilliant and funny. And Jim Bruce was not there. So if Goebel dies, Jim Bruce just carries on the Paul Goebel show, and I'll bet he still calls it the Paul Goebel show. just featuring or starring Jim Bruce at that point. But yeah, that would have blown a huge hole right into the center of the top 100 comedy podcasts, folks. I don't know what would have happened. You folks, all of you would have to go listen to Smodcast or any other name-checked podcast I can think of. And the only thing worse would be it would be like if AIDS ravaged all the gay podcasts and there was like nothing left, nothing at all. It would just be then you just have our 5 podcasts, because that's all it is gay podcasts. If AIDS took down everybody else on the top 100. And AIDS. I remember when AIDS was gay cancer. Wasn't that good times? I liked it better when it was called that. That just seems like. And why would you change the name? I don't know. I don't know why you would do that. You know what? AIDS is too friendly a name. I say fuck that. If they would have kept calling it gay cancer, maybe nobody. Believe me, nobody wants to fuck anybody at that point. Hey, did you hear about the gay cancer? Holy shit! I'm gonna put 9 condoms on and a penicillin fucking lube. That's happening. But you say AIDS, and it sounds like, oh, that's like a puppet friend. I've got a friend, my puppet sidekick AIDS. Change the name. Go back to gay cancer. I'm telling you, the epidemic will dry up immediately. And and I say that not fully confident there still is an epidemic. They may have cured AIDS. I have no idea. It might have happened. I haven't been reading the paper very often. I've been a little lost. I've been a little self-focused, navel-gazing, trying to figure out some things. But perhaps there was a breakthrough in the last few days. I have no idea. But I still say go back to gay cancer. Because, again, AIDS sounds fun, almost, to a certain extent. Gay cancer sounds like Jesus Christ. And I don't... The second... See, what I would do, I would get one of those, like, mortars and pestles. Is that what that's called? And I would just fill it with, like, with Astroglide and penicillin and crush it all together. And then I would have, like, an Astroglide-cillin fucking, like, lube, like an antibiotic lube. That's what you need. That's exactly what I would have. Don't shake your head.
Antibiotics don't fight against viruses. They fight against bacteria.
Again, I don't need any sort of medical clarification from someone named after a character in a Mel Brooks film.
Okay.
That's like if Mog came in and started to tell me some shit from Spaceballs. I'd be like, really, dude? Seriously? Because you're half man, half dog. I don't think I need to hear from you what you have to say about, fucking the croup. That's just, that makes no sense. That's like if the Waco Kid popped in and said, hey, you know what? Here's the best thing for a fever. Fuck off. Seriously, you and the black sheriff go off and do your thing and then find out where the white women are at. Okay, so.
Where the white women?
And I say, and it's funny, I fight you on that only because it's like I'm ashamed that I didn't know. I'm just talking here. I didn't do any medical research into this, and now I get Lily Von Stupp, the producer, giving me this whole medical breakdown, and she actually has a graduation hat with a tassel and a pointer and a blackboard broken out. I'm like, hey, look, seriously, you and Victor go in the other room and comb his ponytail, because I don't fucking need to hear it from you. Jesus Christ, he looks like the villain in a Bond film. He knows that, right? He's aware of that? Okay, good. Oh, Victor. Double V, von Stupp. All right, so, folks, I am not doing well. I'm not, I don't, this won't even be funny. I don't fucking care. It's what I'm thinking about. I'm lost, man. I'm fucking lost, and I can't fix it, and I'm trying to fix it. I don't know what happened to me. What happened to me? I used to be beautiful, and that's one of my favorite lines ever in a Tarantino film. It's Samuel L. Jackson and Robert De Niro in Jackie Brown, and Samuel L. Jackson shoots Robert De Niro, and he looks at him and he goes, "What happened to you, man? You used to be beautiful," which I fucking love that line. And it's funny because that's an adaptation of Rum Punch, Elmore Leonard, which I have not read, but I wonder if that line is directly from the book. And if it is, I love an Elmore Leonard line. So there. I don't want to give Tarantino credit where Tarantino was not due credit. Folks, I am out of control. I'm just going to say it. I'm out of control, and I can't fix it. I don't know what to do. I'm a guy. Dude, folks, I used to weigh 500 pounds. I've told you that story. You've heard that. Everybody knows that. Everyone's familiar with that. And I'll tell you this, by the way. I have not talked to my family after last week's show. I don't know if we're still talking. I don't know if I'm on equal footing or good. I don't know if my mom got her iPod figured out. But I will tell you this. I listened to half the show last night. I listened to the first 35 minutes. I got through the Bare Naked Ladies thing, and which really, folks, I'm fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie to you. I listened to that and I was cracking up. So, I don't know if my mom and I are still friends. All right, so, but I listened to the show and I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I listened to it and I'm like, all right, I'm funny. I was just funny. There was nothing mean or malicious. And I said I love my mom 9 times in the middle of it. So I don't know. And again, don't you get to a point? Once you get to be 41, don't you say, you know what? I'm 41. Maybe I can't worry about what my mom thinks at this point, right? Granted, I thought that when I was 14. But I mean, that's which is, by the way, the inverse of 41. Suck on that, numerologists. There's something for everyone on this podcast. I doubt that. So I used to weigh 500 pounds. I used to be a big dude, and not that I'm not a big dude anymore. Well, so all right. So here's what happened. Here's the timeline. I weighed 5 bills and broke 9 chairs, and went, I got to do something about this. So went into a doctor. First, I went to IKEA. Then I went into a doctor. You know what I did? I went into IKEA and I just kept sitting on things and breaking it until they threw me out, because that was what passed for fun when I was a big fat guy. Because I was, otherwise you're immobile. You're like, I'm home doing nothing. But then it's like, let's go to IKEA and wreck shit. I did. I went there. I sat on a Flugelnorn. I crushed that into fucking bits. I sat right on a Fjunk. That's right. I sat on a Fjunk. And let me tell you, there's nothing more comfortable than a Fjunk. FJURNK, Fjunk. I hope that's something. God, I hope that's something. Literally, it just sounds like if you were to write out a sneeze, you would write Fjunk. But I hope to Christ it's like a bookcase. Which would be even funnier that I went in and broke that. Like I sat on a bookcase and fucking crushed it. I was just like this Godzilla at IKEA. Just like IKEA was Tokyo and I was Godzilla, just fucking sitting on shit and breaking it. Thank God IKEA had no power lines, because everything would have gone up. And then fucking King Kong and the Gargantuas and Megalon show up, and everything goes to fucking hell. And then those 2 little Japanese girls in the clamshell sing for Mothra, and she shows up, and who the fuck knows what happens? IKEA is ruined, and nobody gets meatballs. So, I was a huge fat guy, and I would break shit. Literally, I went to a restaurant once and broke a chair. I mean, it's bad. And so I go, I got to get a handle on this. And so I go in and I go to the doctor and they're like, hey, dude, we have a surgery now that turns your stomach into a coin purse. I said, I'm in. Done. Let's do it. So I was 5 bills. And then by the day of the surgery, I went in and I was 492 pounds. And got the little snip, got a little back and forth, and wound up in the hospital for a week. They tell you you'll be in and out in 2 days. I was there for a week, folks. Because what they do is they fill you up like a dirigible. They pump you up like a Zeppelin. That's like instead of just saying they fill you with gas or air, I decided to go ahead and use everything that you could possibly fill with gas. They fill you up like a propane-filled balloon. It was propane, by the way. That's what they used, which makes that surgery highly dangerous. And you got to hope your surgeon doesn't smoke during the procedure, because there's open propane containers, and you could just wind up decorating the walls with your guts. So they go to do the surgery on me, and they tie me up in knots, and I'm supposed to be out of there in 2 days. They're like, hey, you're in and out in 2 days. I was in the hospital for a week, because for some reason I was packed full of air. I was chock full of air or gas or whatever they fill you up with, and you're supposed to walk it off. And folks, sadly, when I say walk it off, I think you know what that means. I got to walk around until you get rid of the gas somehow. And let's put it this way: it's not exactly shooting out of my fingertips like I'm one of the fucking X-Men. Okay, it's embarrassing. It's a whole ward of fat people, wobbling around in stocking feet, farting in a hallway. So. And I'm not proud of it. I didn't like it. And it's just that whole thing where you just, let me tell you, there is nothing more remorseful than laying in the bed after getting that fucking procedure and just going, how did I fuck up my life this bad? That I hired a fucking doctor to cut my stomach apart. I mean, think about that, man. Think about the level of dedication, the level of abuse that I'd gone through, that I had to reach that bottom point where I went, you know what? This is what I need somebody to go in and tamper with the basic physiology of my body to control my behavior. What the fuck is wrong with me? And I know it wasn't my gut, it was my head. It was my head that was all fucked up, but unfortunately, my head was like, hey, use your mouth, that'll fix things, and so I did. And so I just kept cramming shit into my mouth, and that's what happened. So, but then I got my mind right. I went Cool Hand Luke on fucking everybody. I said, fuck this. I got my mind right. I'm shaking it here, boss, and I am going to lose this weight. So I went in, and they chopped me up. I'm in the hospital for a week. And like I said, you have the gas. They encourage you. I'll tell you this horrible nonsense, but whatever. I have to do this. You know what? I have to do this because I think I need to fucking do this to get a. This is the skin bracer of my life right now. This is me grabbing myself by the lapels and fucking exposing everything to you folks. So it's on tape, and I know that I fucking said it. So then I'm embarrassed, and I got to do something about it. So I'm in the hospital, and you're encouraged to release gas and get rid of it because you have to be. It's part of you going home. And so I was in pain. Something happened, and it wasn't working for me. So like day 4, I'm actually sitting in a chair in my room, and it's time to get rid of some gas. It happens. Gas comes a knocking, and I'm ready to start blasting. So I do, and I'll tell you this: our friend Gas brought a hitchhiker along. I'm sitting in a chair in the hospital, and I kind of shift. And again, I'm a fat dude, and I've got 5 scars, and I have a drainage system hanging out of me, and I'm in like a dress because a fat guy has to wear a dress. There's no cool looking outfit for a guy who just got his stomach cut in half. They're not like, hey, let's make some designer clothes for Mr. Can't Control Himself. So I'm wrapped up in a fucking muumuu and socks, and I might as well have had like a stocking cap on because again, the very fat are not attractive. The obese, the people, and again, I'm sorry if you are obese and you're listening to this. And I also understand that you're obese and listening to this because you can't reach the computer to turn it off. I know your hands are slick from butter grease, and there's nothing you can do about turning the volume down. I know that you know what? I'm willing to bet that the keyboard on your computer, the keys have all been jammed up with Cheeto dust. So there's no way you could possibly. That's a true story, by the way. That was in Spy Magazine, which was a brilliant magazine that I used to love to read. Spy Magazine had a story once, like a blind item, and I never knew if it was true or not, but I don't fucking care. It cracked me up. Supposedly, Aretha Franklin had a piano repairman come to her house, and because her piano wasn't playing, it wasn't making noise anymore, and it turned out that the hammers of her piano were coated with Cheeto dust. And she couldn't get any sound out of the piano. Now that is dedication to songwriting and snacking. That is awful. Oh, Aretha, you better think. Think about where you're going to store your snack food from now on. Because you have just fucked up a grand piano. So, I'm in this outfit where I just look horrible, and I'm in. So again, and also being a big fat guy, I will say this: fat people are feminized. Like fat men become feminized when they get fat. I think that's why so many of us grow beards, not only to hide 9 of our chins, but also to have some semblance of manhood, to glom onto some last possible gasp of being a dude. Because you're sitting there and you weigh 5 bills and your cock is gone. I mean, it's disappeared. And everything is just, and you're trying to I'm like, hey, I'm still like kind of relevant and cool here, right? Yes? No, you're not. You're crazy, fat, and disgusting. So I'm in the hospital, and sure enough, I go to release gas, and it brings a friend with it. Like, it's like, hey, you mind if he comes along for the ride? I do. Doesn't matter. We're both taking a powder. And I wish it were a powder. It was not a powder. And I wound up shitting the bed, literally, except in a chair. And again, you're helpless because you're sitting there. You've been cut up, and again, a drainage system is on me, and I'm in socks, and there's nothing worse. Seriously, it's the lowest you can get, calling for help because you shit yourself, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's funny because I've had friends get drunk and shit themselves at a bar. I saw a guy shit himself in a casino, so I guess, feel lucky that I at least shit myself in a hospital room where there were people who were trained to take care of that sort of thing, and that is why, by the way, I will never divorce my wife ever. I don't care. She could fuck 9 dudes at once, film it, and sell it. And I would always remember her cleaning shit off of me after I wound up having an accident in a goddamn hospital room and couldn't help myself. So that's it. She loves me. That's the bottom line. And not that she didn't love me up to that point. I mean, we'd been together for 8 years at that point. But I figure that's her chance to cut bait. That's really... When you look and you see the gigantic fat baby that you're dating, or now married to, wrapped up in his hospital dress, sitting in a pile of his own shit, and calling, help! At that point, don't you just drop the keys on the floor and run? I know I would have. I got to be honest, I probably would have cut bait at that point and disappeared. You know what? This is far too much for me to deal with. I'm taking off. I wanted to leave myself. I wanted to just go, you know what? My brain just wanted to fly out of my body and just go, we're going to find some other fat person to inhabit. But that was awful. So, I mean, it was just, and it was so funny. There was one nurse there who was so nice to me, and she came in and helped. And, they never made you feel bad or awful about it. I was at Cedars-Sinai, and I haven't been in the hospital a lot, but, I've had experience with people who've been in the hospital quite a bit, and they can be a bit impersonal, and they can try to get through you and move on and tell you very matter-of-factly what's wrong with you and have no bedside manner. But I can tell you the people at Cedars-Sinai were great and were really nice. And so the reason I say I'm out of control now is then I wound up, I was at 492 the day of the surgery. And I wound up losing a ton of weight. So then I get home and I'm walking, and it was so funny. It was before I had an iPod. So I actually had a Walkman around my neck on a lanyard. And so it looked like I had won a medal in the Fat Olympics. Like, that's what it looked like. Because I would go home. They're like, you got to just walk, man. You just got to walk. And it was so funny. The day I saw the doctor when I was really fat and I told him I needed help, and he was like, what do you want? And I said, I want to run again. That was all I wanted. Like, I wanted to be able to run. Because that had even gotten away from me. I was walking terrible, awful. So I wanted to run again. That was what I said, which sounds so weird. So I got home, and like I said, I was walking, and I didn't have an iPod, so I'm wearing the fat metal is what I would call it. Literally, again, like a metal, because it was a round Discman, and it was on a lanyard in Fat Olympics. So... And first I started walking around my pool outside and in my courtyard. And it was funny because all the people who lived there, they knew I was fat. And then they see me, and they're like, what happened to you? And I'm like, I went in for the fat guy surgery. And because I also did not lie about it. Like, I wasn't that guy, because a lot of people will try to hide it and lie about it. It's like, no, fuck that. I've reached this point in my life, so I need to admit to people what happened. That was part of the deal. Is that's part of fixing it. Is accepting it and fucking owning it. You got to step up and own it. Because you can't sit there and be like, oh, what, I had gallbladder surgery. Nobody fucking wants to hear that bullshit. Tell them the truth. I had to go have my stomach removed. The whole thing. I went in and they just fucking took it right out in one fell swoop. And you know what they did with it? They turned it into a Macy's Day Parade balloon because it was huge. Actually, I kept my stomach and I rented it out. I'd make some side money because like a family of 4 lives in it. So that's me drinking, by the way, on purpose. And I'm doing that on purpose because I mentioned doing the beverage podcast. By the way, what beverage was that? If you said Black Cherry Propel, you've been paying attention. Some guy wrote me, a couple people, I actually had like 5 people write me to tell me about there is a beverage podcast. And I was so fucking mad. There's a Tiki Time. Is that what it's called? Tiki Time. Beverage podcast. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I thought I was the vanguard of imbibing podcasts. No. Turns out there's a podcast, and I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, but I'm sure it's fantastic. Because, you know why? Because there's more than one person. Because then you can all talk about the drink. That was the innovation I was missing. I was missing the innovation of having several people discuss a drink. Then you get the people who, maybe someone likes it, maybe someone doesn't like it. If you got one guy drinking on a podcast, that's just being fucking lonely. You need a team of people imbibing and having drinks, which then becomes a party podcast, a tiki time party podcast. That's a lot of alliteration, and I mentioned before alliteration is awful. Not in this case. Tiki time party podcast, that works fine for everybody, I think. Sucking down beverages, ruining my dreams. All right, so cut to me at home in July, because I got the surgery July 1st of 2005. And I live in a place called the Valley, and it is fucking hot. So then as I'm walking around the courtyard, I'm starting to kind of get better at it, and then I start really walking. Like I start walking out and sweating and losing all this weight, and the weight starts coming off. And suffice it to say, I start losing the weight in shifts, and it starts really coming off. I lose like 100 pounds in the first 5 weeks. I mean, it was insanity. How does that? I got into like 390 and, was feeling good, even though I still looked like fucking, 390 pounds of used Kleenex. I mean, I still looked, I had no muscles or tone or anything like that. I was just big. And it's funny. People always ask me what I ate and stuff like that. When you first get the surgery, man, they want to make sure you get protein and calcium. So they give you these horrible protein shakes in the hospital, and they just tasted, it tasted like a milkshake with steel in it. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a bowl of sugar with rust. I mean, it was like just this sickeningly sweet, but it really reinforced with protein and vitamins. It tasted so fucking bad. So, and then when you get the surgery, everything you eat is trial and error and trying to figure out what you can eat and what you can't eat. For 3 weeks, I ate. The first 3 weeks I would go home. The first week I ate nothing. I mean, I was supposed to. I just drank those protein shakes and ate applesauce. But then I started to eat. I would eat a small, like 5 green beans, and then a scallop, like these baby scallops. Karen would make me 4 baby scallops and fruit. I would have like fruit cup, and I would eat that 3 times a day. And my God, did I look forward to it. I was so happy to do it. And I was so happy that I could eat it, and I was done, and I was full. Like I didn't want to eat. But then when, Karen would cook me something, I was like, oh, okay, because it was much better than drinking those goddamn protein shakes. So I'm not, I'm eating when I'm supposed to eat. I'm working out, and I get down to like 390, whatever. I start losing weight and everything, and it's really working well. I'm exercising, but not really. I'm just walking. I'm doing cardio. I'm not lifting yet. And I get down to probably around like 315, which is really good. I mean, because that means I've then lost 170 pounds. 175, and then I get to working at Funny Money Starface. Jesus, Funny Money is way before that. Oh my God, folks, I'm gonna pass out. That's what's gonna happen as I try to. This is why you should write things down. So anyway, I started to work on Starface, and then when you work, there's no time to be walking or exercise or anything like that. And also, I think if we know anything about me, we know that I tend to settle. So when I got down to about 310, 315, I was like, you know what? This is good. I mean, I'm feeling good. I was getting, you're still getting complimented by people because, before you looked like a goddamn mailbox with a shirt on. So now you're starting to look like a human being again. And hey, look, I got cheekbones. And oh my God, there's 3 inches of cock that I misplaced. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that showed up. And things start to change, man. And you start to go, hey, I can wear jeans, and I can bend over and tie my shoes, and I can walk upstairs, and my knees aren't fucking killing me. And I stopped snoring, and that was the best part. When I was fat, Mike, crazy fat, there's Pepsid AC and Axid AR and all those types of things for acid reflux. Well, you're supposed to take the maximum dosage of Axid AR is, I think, 2 a day, or 1 every 12 hours, or whatever it was. And what I was doing was every night I would take 2 before I went to bed. Every night. You weren't supposed to exceed like a certain amount. I would take them every single night. I had to take them because otherwise I would wind up with a throat full of stomach acid. Like I had the worst acid reflux ever. And let me tell you something. There is nothing worse. I've been punched in the balls. I've had my hand cut on a meat slicer. I broke my hand in a goddamn fight. I have high ankle sprains. There's nothing worse than waking up with a mouthful and a throat full of bile, and then you're just like, because you throw up, you immediately go and you fucking yak, and then this is what I used to do. I swear to God, that would happen, and I would wake up in the morning, or not even in the morning, in the middle of the night, I would wake up and I had to eat toothpaste because it was minty and it would go down my throat and it would like calm down. So I would actually have to squeeze, like I'm talking like, a big strip of toothpaste, and I would like have to run it in my mouth and swallow it just to get that a mintier flavor down my throat rather than have the stomach acid killing me. And then my throat was destroyed anyway from the acid. So enjoy that. Suck on that image, folks. So, but that's all changing, man. I get down to like I said, I get down to about 310, 315, and I'm in the office, but now I'm in the office, so I'm starting to eat at craft services when we're filming the show, and I'm kind of like, I'm okay, I can handle this. And there's a thing when you get this surgery called sugar dumping, which means you can't eat sugar because you will pass out. Like you will literally get sweaty, and you will get it's like getting, I would imagine it's like getting the vapors in the old days. Like you end up getting sweaty and lightheaded, and you actually have to lay down. I mean, and you have to go ahead and lie down because you don't know if you're going to pass out, because the sugar is absorbed right into your bloodstream because there's no more, because my mouth goes right to my ass, folks. So, I mean, there's no middleman in there. All the gremlins who used to work inside my stomach all got fucking laid off. So it just goes from fucking mouth to bloodstream right out the ass. And so if the sugar goes into your bloodstream, you get all fucking lightheaded and you're ready to fucking pass out. So sugar dumping is, so they told me, they're like, you don't want to sugar dump. And I knew in my head. I will also tell you, when I got the surgery, I was ready. I mean, I had squared it up in my brain to where I like, you know what, dude? You have done everything you've wanted to do for the past 38 years. It's time to pay the check. So I was ready to get this fucking surgery and change my life and get it all squared away. So I did, and I was excited, man. I was fucking marching, and I wasn't marching. That would seem really ridiculous. You know what I did, folks? I did. I started marching. I got a marching outfit, and I wore a brown shirt, and I had a baton. I tossed that in the air, spinning it around. I had that big fuzzy helmet. Moron. I mean, I had my marching orders to get this all squared away and taken care of. So I went out, and I wasn't going to, I wasn't even going to worry about sugar dumping because I wasn't even going to eat any sugar. That was it. I was finished with it. So about 6 months after the surgery, a few months after the surgery, we went out to dinner. My wife and I went out to dinner with Lily and her husband. And we were at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for his birthday. And they ordered this chocolate fudge cake. I don't know. It was like, and again, if you go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, everything is fucking gigantic. It's the cake that tips over the Flintstones car. It's like that fucking big. So they bring it to the table, and Karen's like, you should, you want any of that? And I'm like, nah. And I go, and it looks so good. And I finally went, you know what? I'll try some of that. Because they also tell you, the doctors, you should try everything to see what your reaction is going to be. So I ate like 2 forkfuls of the cake, and nothing fucking happened. And that made me realize, oh, guess what? I don't sugar dump. Because they say it happens to you or it doesn't happen to you. Like they basically, let's put it this way. They know fat people lie. So they say, it's going to happen to you. Be careful. So they try to put, they basically, fat people are operating under, an umbrella of fear at all times. So, actually, that sounds great. The Umbrella of Fear. That sounds like a James Bond film. The Umbrella of Fear. So I decided I wasn't even going to fucking bother with it. But then sure enough, I tried that cake and I found out, hey, I don't sugar dump, which meant, oh, guess what? I can eat fucking sugar. And so then, like I said, I kind of settled in where I was eating stuff, and I was at craft services, and you wind up snacking there, and then I'm working late at night, and I'm eating like, hey, why don't I eat a bag of goldfish crackers, which is bad. And so I got to the point where I went up around 3:15, and I felt awful. And I looked a lot better than I'd used to, but I was like, man, this is fucking dumb. What are you doing? You got to get a handle on this. So I told Karen I wanted to fix it. So I went to, and by the way, this story is going nowhere. I know this is long and just me talking. I apologize, folks. It is just me fucking yammering, but it's just something that's been on my mind and in my heart, and it's something I'm spilling out to you folks, because who else am I going to tell in the middle of the night at the graveyard gig, sitting there? You know what? I should have waited. I should have kept this for the graveyard gig, and the next time someone came into the elevator and decided to make small talk, I went, you know what? Here's what happened, folks. I used to weigh 500 pounds, and literally cut to the clock with the hands just spinning, and you come back and this person, you know what? Those people would be like Robert Hayes in Airplane. You just see the fucking time ticking, and then I'm Robert Hayes, and they're just looking for nooses and guns to fucking end their lives. That's all they want to do at that point. But instead, I have you folks. God damn it, thank you for being there. And by being there, I mean thank you for turning this show off 20 minutes ago because you were bored out of your skull. And I don't blame you. Christ, again, I wish I wasn't here. Someone come here and hit me with a fierk. Okay, so I wound up going, I got to fix this. I got to do something about this. And I told my wife, I go, this is stupid. I have this opportunity. Why am I wasting it? I went to the gym, and I went and met a kid who was a trainer. And I had tried to use a trainer before at Bally's, and the trainers there were awful. It was like literally, because this is when I was really fat. So they were like, oh, hey, fatty, why don't you go on the treadmill for 45 minutes and then we'll talk. Like, it was their way of seeing whether I was serious or not, when, that's fucked. I wanted a guy who was kind of involved or interested, because otherwise I'm not going to be involved and interested because I fucking hate it. I don't want to be there. I want a guy, again, this is part of my pathology, is I'm lazy and I want someone to help me and make me want to be there. That's stupid. So I guess my brain wasn't as fixed as I thought it was, because if I needed this kind of weird motivation. So I walk in and I meet this kid, Richard, and I'm lucky enough to meet him because he looks me right in the face after I basically tell him what I've told you, and he hasn't killed himself at that point. And I told him, I go, look, I had the surgery and I got down to a certain part, but I see it wasting away and I need to fix it. And he looked at me and he goes, I want to help you. He goes, let's do this. I absolutely want to help you. And this is at a time when I'm making money, so I can go ahead and sign up with my friend, the trainer, Richard. And then I'm seeing him 3-4 times a week. And then I'm also doing mixed martial arts. I sign up for that. So I'm 3 times a week I'm fighting and doing jiu-jitsu, and 3 times a week I'm lifting. So I'm working out 6 days a week, and I fucking love it. I dive right into it. I'm lifting, and we test my body fat when I first started when I first met Richard. He goes, all right, we got to do this weird body fat thing. So, and let me tell you, they don't take you to like a private room. Right there in front of every fucking ne'er-do-well and no good Nick at my goddamn gym, they just pull out the calipers and they go, all right, let's pinch your fat. And I've had that happen in several places, but this time it was going to apparently be for some good. So I had a guy do that at a grocery store. Hey, let me pinch your fat. I said, "Gad lost." So they bust out the calipers, and they do the measurements on your arm and your fucking man tits and your fucking legs, and they're just measuring you and finding out your fat. And it turns out my body fat at the time was like, I think it was at 52%. I mean, it was just like awful. And this is, again, I'm still at 315 when we get started. So I wind up lifting, and I'm doing the gym, and I'm fucking fighting and doing all that. And I will tell you this, training, expensive. 22 sessions of training, I believe, were $1,400. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. It worked out to where it was $50 a session, and I would do 26 at a time. So that's that's about $1,300. Yeah. So I sign up with, it's $1,300 to do 26 sessions. So it's not cheap, but I don't care. I was loving it, and I had the money at the time. So it was like, all right, let's do this. This is great. Oh, and also on top of that, MMA and jiu-jitsu was $300 a month. So I'm coughing up a lot of dough here, but it doesn't matter because I'm fucking excited. God damn it. Will this story end? I'm boring myself at this point. You know what I need to do? I need to shit my pants. That would be a perfect exclamation point on this story. Just go ahead and do that. Just shit your pants, and then we're done. And then Victor can come in and clean it up with his beard. So I'm hitting it hard. And I have to see my doctor. I'm supposed to see my doctor every 3 months. Now, I've hit a plateau, and he's kind of busting my balls. Well, then I see him after working out for a while, and it turns out I've lost 18 pounds, which is not exactly 100 pounds in 5 weeks. It's not exactly 100 pounds in 5 weeks, but it's better than I had been doing because, again, I'm sitting on my fucking ass eating trail mix all goddamn day. Eating, goldfish crackers and fucking tacos, and we would go to dinner. All I need, if I get into a social situation, I make it about food. I always have. That's why I got to be fucking 500 pounds. We'll go out at night and we'll have a good time, and then it'll be 2 a.m, and I'll be like, hey, let's go to Denny's. Not really because I'm hungry, just because I don't want the fucking night to end. It's about abandonment issues. I am a fuck up. So anyway. When I used to talk to the chick in therapy, I would tell her this kind of shit, and I'm sure, she's just like, oh, okay, that's great. What? Oh, the chick, yeah, okay. Lily always makes fun of me because she's like, I love that you went to therapy with this woman who's a doctor, and you keep calling her the chick. Well, I don't want to give her name because, yeah, well, why not? Because if I give her name, she's never getting another patient again because they're going to see how badly she fucked this one up. She didn't fix this guy at all. Because I would spend half the time talking about the tattoo on her ankle. So hey, you got a tattoo. Hey, where'd you get that? Let's talk about you, idiot. Why should I? My insurance is paying for this, so let's talk more about your tattoo. So, I got a lot done in therapy. So, I lose 18 pounds. I go from like 323 to 305. And I'm excited. And the whole goal I'm trying to do is I have to lose enough weight to get a surgery where they remove your excess skin. Now, that normally would not be a goal any normal person would have. No one is sitting around going, fuck, I can't wait till they get that surgery where they have to do a full body lift and pull my ankles up to my knees. That's going to be fucking great. Holy shit, I can't wait till they cut me open like a deer and peel me layers off of me. But when you're a big fat dude who's turned your body into a goddamn, set of 4 used tires, you can't wait to do it because then you look like a human being again. I swore it. I'm like, I will never be in fucking sweatpants again. I was like fucking, Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind, where she was like, I will never, as God is my witness, I will never go hungry again. I was like, as God is my witness, I will never wear fucking sweatpants again, ever. So, I wind up lifting more, and I'm fighting, and I'm getting fucking ripped, and I go to my doctor after 3 more months, and I am down to 270. I've lost 35 fucking pounds in 3 months, which means I've lost 53 in the time I've been working out with Richard. And my doctor's like, he's awesome. He's like, this is so great. And you're down to 270. He goes, dude, and you want to get the surgery, right? I go, yeah, I can't wait to get the surgery. He goes, you only got to lose 40 more pounds to get down to 230, and you'll be ready for the surgery. And there's 2 ways you can take that at that point. There's the way where you can go, fuck yeah, man, 40 more pounds and I'm getting that goddamn surgery. I'm going to get to 230 and it is on. Yes. Or you can do what I did. I got to lose 40 more fucking pounds? Are you kidding me? I've lost 230 pounds and we're within shouting distance of my goal? How fucking retarded fat was I? So I'm 270, and I've got I'm fucking muscles, man. So I go in, I tell Richard, my trainer, I'm like, dude, I'm down to 270. And he's like, that is awesome. Let's redo your body fat and stuff. He does my body fat, and he measures the calipers and all this. And I don't mind it so much now because, again, I'm feeling pretty good. And he measures it. I'm down to 21% from 53%. Down to 21. And you can tell. I mean, that's the thing is it's like, I'm big arms and everything's like in place. Like I look like a human being. That's all it is. I don't look like a goddamn weightlifter or anything. I look like a normal person. And I'm wearing jeans. I'm wearing pants with buttons. Yeah, it's a huge triumph. Except now in my tiny brain, I'm going, fuck, I got to lose 40 more pounds? Are you kidding me? So that coincides with me not working anymore. And which coincides with me not being able to afford to pay my friend Richard to stand there with a whip and whip me and make me lift weights. So once my gigs end, the money ends, and I can't go to the trainer and I can't go to the martial arts anymore. And again, in my brain, I have this small thing of 40 pounds. Jesus, that's a lot. And even though I've lost 220, it makes no sense. I don't know why I made 40 this huge number, but I did. And so you know what I did, folks? I took 2008 off. Because God knows when you've made that much progress, you owe it to yourself to crawl into a jar of candy for a year. And I'm so fucking angry at myself. I'm so mad. I can't believe I did it, and I did. And here's how, again, I didn't start eating fast food because I don't eat fast food, although I did start eating some. That's the thing. I didn't eat fast food for 2.5 years. I didn't eat it. And then this year, I went back to In-N-Out Burger. I started to eat that a little bit, and I still don't drink soda. Occasionally, I'll have a sip of Karen soda, but before I wasn't doing it at all. I was eating fruit and oatmeal and protein shakes and fucking fish and doing all that, and everything was great. I was loving it. I was running. I was lifting. I was fighting. I was sparring. And now, you know what I do? Here's what I do for exercise, folks. I go to Trader Joe's, and they have this candy that they sell. It's chocolate-covered fruit. And it's in a container, and it's apricots are orange, strawberries are white, cherries are red, blueberries are blue. Well, here's what Mike does. This is Mike's ADD, OCD, fucking iced tea, cool mo D, whatever the fuck you want to say I have. Some disease. RUNNOFT. I don't know what I got. But I will go buy 3 containers of candy. Mind you, those containers of candy have 1,900 calories each. I will buy 3 of them, and I've made it into a game. I don't just eat candy. Listen, folks, I'm not a fucking slob. I'm not a psychopath. I don't just shovel candy into my mouth. No, I've made it into a game from Parker Brothers. I will sit there and go through the candy containers in Trader Joe's, trying to find the ones that have the least orange and the most white candy pieces. I want more strawberries and less apricots. So I will sit there. They will have maybe 25 of them on the shelf. I will go through all 25 and use my eye. I will look and I will count. I'll go, all right, I can see 12 whites and I can see 12 oranges. What's in the middle? I don't know. And I will separate them. And Karen will go off and do the shopping while I'm standing in this aisle sorting candy. And I will work it down to the 3 best, to my 3 choices. I will buy 3 containers of candy at 1,900 calories each. And I will sit there and I will wait, and I don't eat them right away. No, folks. I don't eat those until like after midnight. But, like I said, I don't just eat them. I will cut open the container, and I will dump them all out on the desk, and I will sort them by color, and I will actually keep a tally and write down exactly how much is in each container. I will get a piece of paper and I will write ROWB, and then I will count them and I will sort them into the separate containers. And all of the orange ones go in their own container because I give those to Karen. I go, take those to your work. I don't want those. I just want the red, the blue, and the whites. And I made it a game to where I try to get more whites. And then I will add them up, and then I will actually try to figure out the percentage of reds that were in the container, the percentage of whites that were in the container, the percentage of blues, and the percentage of oranges. And I'm constantly striving to get like single-digit percentage of oranges and and a bigger ratio of whites. I'm fucking pathetic, folks. I don't know if it's in my brain. I'm justifying the buying and purchasing and the eating of the candy by turning it into a task. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but I've been doing this for like 6 months, and I can't fucking stop. I'm doing it every day. And I don't, let's put it this way, I don't do it every day. I do it like every 3 days because the candy will last for like 3 days because I can't, no human could eat that much candy. I could, 5 years ago I could do it, but now I can't. But it's still enough to know that they're there. Like it's even comforting in my brain to know that I've got that coming up in 3 hours. I can eat that candy. I'm not kidding you. That's where I'm at. And and you know what? It scares the shit out of me. It's where I was before I had the surgery. I lived for plan. I would wake up in the morning and think about dinner. And think about what I was going to have after dinner. And I would fucking devastate food. Karen got used to cooking for me. So I would eat, 1.5 pounds of spaghetti with meat sauce and a loaf of garlic bread. And then I would have fucking Ben and Jerry's. I was just out of control. I had what they called hedonistic overeating, and I see it fucking happening again. So the reason I bring it up to you folks is because I finally went, you know what, dude? What the fuck are you doing with yourself? And I went to the gym today, and I weighed myself. I weighed 325 pounds. 325. That is higher than I was when I decided that I was fucked up and I needed to do something about it. I put on 55 pounds in a year. I got clothes, and it was so funny when I was throwing away clothes. Because I had clothes that two people could fit in my pants. I do a grab bag every Christmas, like a silly grab bag. I mailed one of my old shirts. And 2 of my friends' wives got in the shirt. It was that big. I mean, it was like I was buying 6X talls. I mean, huge shirts. And then I got to a point where I was wearing, like, my waist, I had jeans. I had old jeans that were like 64 waist jeans. I got down to a 38. I was in a 38 jean, and I started it. Karen was like, "We got to throw away all these old clothes, man. We got to give them to Goodwill." And I'm just like, "Give them to Goodwill? What the fuck are they going to market them as pool covers? What are they going to do with these clothes?" I mean, I don't see. I mean, I guess there must be some really poor, really fat guy out there who's looking forward to getting a shirt with flames on it. But and I only had like one of those because I hated. That was the worst part about being a fat guy too. Was going to buy clothes and they basically they're like, he's fat. He doesn't care about style. Throw a dog on it. You know what I mean? Like that's what they think about fat guys. Because most fat guys, let's face it, their personalities are in their shirts. If you see fat guys, they're usually wearing like Hawaiian shirts or shirts with flames or shirts with big dog, all that kind of stuff. Because that's basically what they think of fat guys. They're garish and loud, and they shouldn't be allowed to look good ever in their fucking lives. And granted, most fat guys, you can't really see the shirt because the chins are hanging down in front of it, so you really can't see the pattern. But yeah, so that's who I was, and now it's who I am. It's who I've become. So when we were throwing away the clothes, Karen and I would say to Karen, I'd be like, "Man, I need to save these clothes," and she'd be like, "What is wrong with you?" And I go, "What if I put the weight back on? What if I do that? I need these clothes." And she's like, "No, you're never putting the weight back on. It's not gonna fucking happen. I'm not gonna let you. Don't worry about it." And that scares the shit out of me. What's she gonna do? Shoot me in the fucking head? What does that mean? But she said, "Yeah, I would never let you do that. We won't do it. You can't do it." But now we've done that. So now my clothes that I wear now are in play. Let's put it that way. Because I got down to wearing 2X t-shirts. And like I said, I had a 38 jean. Well, now I'm back wearing my 40 jeans, and my belt, I had a 42 belt. And then I started to buy a 40 belt, which actually I could go to the third notch. Well, now I'm still wearing my 40 belt, but it comes all the way, like, you know how you have a belt and you can slide it in and all of a sudden and just kind of comfortably button it? My belt right now matches the circumference of my waist, and then I have to pull it to get it together. So I've lost it, folks. I am completely out of control, and I don't know what the fuck to do. I know what to do. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I need to do it. And this is something, and it's so funny. That's a phrase I used to say all the time to the chick in therapy. I would say to her all the time, "I know what I need to do. I just need to do it." And she'd be like, "Okay, well, when the fuck are you going to do it?" Which I thought seemed a little harsh and really wasn't exactly the great couchside manner I was looking for. Hey, did you talk like that when you got the tattoo on your ankle? I don't know if you did, sailor. But so, I mean, I just have to fix it. And I guess maybe by talking about it, I feel that I'm going to make myself or shame myself into fixing it. But the best way to do it is to just fucking do it and to get your mind right and not start playing, Soul Survivor with candy that looks like marbles. It just, it literally looks like a container of aquarium rocks. And yet I see it and I stare at it and I'm like, I can't wait to fucking devour that. Why? I don't understand it. And the thing is, I loved the feeling of coming home from the gym. Like when I would finish, and I would steam and fucking run and do all that. I mean, I was running like 2.5 miles a day in addition to lifting, and then also doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. And I mean, god damn, did I love it. And then the cash dried up, and when the cash dries up, incentive dries up, and I got in my own fucking head about it and took 2008 off. And here we are in 2009, and I'm sure everybody's making resolutions, and they're going to do all this bullshit. And I'm supposed to, and I got to do it. I got to fucking do it. I don't know why I'm telling you folks. That's because I was just so... I finally today went, because I'm wearing right now a Christmas gift from last year. Karen bought me a Chicago Bears, like not a windbreaker, but just like not a sweater. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like a jacket, but a medium jacket. And if I zip it now, it looks like I'm in an orange sausage. It just is I'm crazy because it fit last year for Christmas. It was baggy on me. It was baggy, and I had I have a jacket that was a 2X that's baggy. Now I wear that jacket and I zip it and I sit down and my stomach is like trying to burst out of it. It just why did I let it happen? Why did I let it happen? So I got to fix it. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. You know what a good way to do? A good way to fix it? Sit around on your ass for an hour and a half and talk into a microphone. That's a real good way to fix anything. Because let me tell you, maybe I should just start doing. Let me try it. Let me see if I could just do if I could do jumping jacks while I'm on doing the podcast. I did 3 there, folks. I'm a little winded. Hold on, I gotta calm down. But man, I was doing ab work. You know what I was doing? I would do sit-ups, and I would make my Richard punch me in the stomach when I would do the sit-ups, and he'd be like, "Are you sure?" And I'd go, "Do it." And I would do a sit-up, and he'd go, "Bam, bam," and he'd hit me in the fucking gut. And people in the gym would go, "This guy's fucking insane," because I would take, let's put it this way: I dive head first into anything if I'm going to do it. So when which is why for 37 of my 41 years, I have dived head on into ruining everything. But for 4 of those years, I dived head on into doing things right. And so hopefully the 2009 and hopefully this is the year that I dive back in and make it an even 5 years of doing good things. I don't fucking know what's going to happen. All I know is that right now when we hang this up, I'm supposed to go to dinner. How does that grab you? Let me tell you, folks, I cannot wait to go have a huge plate of something. What is wrong with me? My head is all fucked up. So enjoy that, folks. I'm glad I brought that to the table for you guys today. And I don't even know what the goal was. I don't know. I guess by saying it provides you a kick in the ass. I don't know. Am I supposed to update you guys now every show? Like, what if I had to weigh in? I had to weigh in before every podcast. It was the podcast version of The Biggest Loser. And I just stripped down to like my Under Armours and had to climb on, and Lily gets the calipers out. And, oh, that sounds awful. And yet it sounds like something that a lot of people would pay to see on the web. Fat guy prodded with calipers.com. Hot chick checks fat guy's bodyfat.com. So I don't know. And also I stopped going to the doctor. I'll tell you that too. That's another thing. I have to get that back on track in 2009. I have not seen him since June of last year because I knew what he was going to say. So I went, you know what? I don't need to stop in and see Dr. Tovar because I know exactly what he's going to say. So I can't wait to see him. I'm going to make an appointment to see him, and he's going to go, "What's up?" And I'm going to go, "Hey, took 2008 off. What are we doing now?" So good. That'll be exciting. And you guys can look forward to my weighing in every week. So that would be horrendous and awful and even worse than this show itself. All right. You guys can write me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can write me at myspace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, and you can also leave a review in iTunes if you want. That would be great. Maybe you don't review this show, but review the ones you've liked. And you can also get subscribed to this show at my website at MikeSchmidtComedy/podcast. Nope. MikeSchmidtComedy.com/podcast.asp. MikeSchmidtComedy.com/podcast.asp. You can go ahead and subscribe there, whether you have a Zune or whether you have an iPod. Go ahead and get it done, folks. Take care of it. And I also want to tell you that I did a podcast called Comics on Comics. And it was a video podcast, and I filmed it what seems like eons ago. Hey, you know what? It's funny. So the bottom line is it's up now. If you go to comicsoncomics.com or you search Comics on Comics in iTunes, you can get it. It's a 61-minute presentation, so it's it's 5 people talking for an hour as opposed to the one talking for an hour and a half, which today you've heard. But I will tell you, it's a video podcast, so if you get it, you will understand by looking at it, you will see what I saw and what made me realize how fucking bad things had gotten. Because I see myself every day, and I see myself in the shower every day and in the mirror, and you just kind of, I guess your brain rationalizes it. But then when you see yourself on videotape, you go, holy fuck, what happened to me? Because I used to be beautiful. But I see this tape, and it's funny. You'll see I'm wearing the Bears shirt. I'm wearing my Bears sweater, and you can see it doesn't fit. It looks so fucking bad. I watched the playback of the podcast, and I was cringing the entire time, going, thank God I don't do a video podcast. Because I've actually talked to Lily. I was going to get a camera, and I was going to start shooting like video vignettes and putting up these little things. And I got to be honest, that ain't fucking happening. That's not happening at all. Certainly not until I get back down into a proper weight where I can zip my fucking clothes. So, good. I saved $1,000 on a camera. But man, so if you go to Comics on Comics in iTunes, or you go to comicsoncomics.com, you can get this podcast, which I did. It was me and Chris Mancini and Jackie Cation, along with a guy named Mark Guggenheim, who's a famous comedy writer, comic book writer and television writer. And he could not have been nicer or more tolerant of my tomfoolery. I appreciate that because I'm sitting next to him the entire time, touching his knee and going, Googs, which he doesn't know me from a fucking bat cave. So I don't know why he tolerated it, but he did. And Juan de la Rocha was the host. And I will tell you this. I will share this with you, folks. When we were doing this show, I said what, for my money, is the funniest thing I've ever said in my life. And the second I said it, it happened, and then we took a break because it was in the middle of the podcast, and they wound up taking a break because they had to, change cameras and film. And I went over to them, and I said, that is the funniest thing I've ever said in my life. And they were like, oh, it was awesome. And Jackie Cation was very nice. She's like, yeah, that was really funny. And I said to the guys, how much editing do you guys do? And they go, oh, we got to edit some, but not much. And I go, you are not fucking taking that joke out. You are absolutely not taking that out. And they go, oh, of course not. We would never do that. And I'm like, thank God. Because I think I even mentioned this when I filmed it, when I did my podcast after filming it. I may have mentioned to you folks that I said this because, and again, I'm building this up because to me it was really funny. Nobody else finds it as funny as I do, I'm sure. But for me, it was a shining moment. So I watched the podcast, and in between cringing at my fat fucking head and the fact that it's so obvious my sweater doesn't, and here's another thing fat guy does. I'll share this with you. Fat guy tugs at his shirt all the time. All the time. I had actually stopped doing that. Oh, and by the way, I'm starting to snore again. All of this shit is hitting the fan. So that's why I'm saying I got to fucking fix this. But in the video, you see me tugging my shirt the entire time. I'm like, God damn it, fatty, leave your shirt alone. So the part comes where I get to fire off the greatest line I've ever had, the fastest, quickest, funniest line ever, and they cut it out. They fucking cut it out. I'm like, dudes. And again, I'm funny all the time. Like, Jackie's funny, Chris has great lines, everybody's funny the entire time. But I'm not kidding you, at driving home that night, I'm going, I can't wait to see that line on camera because it was so fucking great. And then it disappeared. And I'm going to give it to you now. I'm going to tell you right now what that line was. And it will never live up to the hype, but you have to understand, if you were there and you saw it in the moment, as quick as it was, I've never been quicker or funnier than I was on this line. Here you go. You know what? I might as well have been at a wake. That's how fucking funny this line was. And again, it won't be funny. You won't think it's funny, but I don't care. Here it is. They were taking a break, and in the middle of the podcast, they gave away, because it was for comedyfilmnerds.com, who, by the way, go visit comedyfilmnerds.com. They have funny stuff there, and you can buy things, including this game called Pirate King. They gave away a game called Pirate King in the middle of the podcast. And you actually hear in the podcast, when they're giving away Pirate King, you hear me start to say what I'm going to say, and they still fucking cut it out. They whack me. So what happened is they're giving away Pirate King, and Chris gives the spiel for Pirate King, and he mentions that, you guys we're giving it away. It's a great show. They're a great game. They're a sponsor of our show, and they're a sponsor of Comedy Film Nerds. And I say, it's also very topical, because right now the Somali pirates are terrorizing the high seas. And Juan de la Rocha goes, no, I heard that India blew up the mothership today. And I'm not kidding you. I didn't miss a beat. Not a second went by. I can't describe how fast it was. You'd have to see it. I have to play both parts here, but here's how it went. I said, it's funny. That game could not be more topical, as the Somali pirates are terrorizing the high seas as we speak. And then Juan said, no, I heard that India blew up the mothership today. And I said, India killed George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic? It was that fast. And again, you had to see, because I made the face like I was horrified. He goes, no, I heard India blew up the mothership today. India killed George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic? And everybody went, boom! It was just, because it was so perfect. It was like, I crushed a fastball. I destroyed it. It wasn't even like a home run. It was like the natural. I hit the fucking lights and the sparks fell down. It was the greatest fast, quick joke. Who would ever think to say that? You know who would? Fucking two people in this world, me and Jimmy Pardo. That's the only people who would think to fucking say that quickly. God damn it. India killed George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic? Oh, the mothership. Come on, nobody? Oh, and they cut it out. Right now it's lying on some virtual floor. But go check it out. Go check out Comics on Comics, because again, I'm funny all through it anyway, and so is Jackie Cation. She's hysterical. Chris Mancini, very funny. Guggenheim, also funny and tolerant. And Juan does a nice job hosting. So go check out comicsoncomics.com, and also check out Comics on Comics on iTunes. You can get it there too. So go ahead and watch the video, and I'll be in Scotland before ye. So look forward to meeting me there. Gang aft agley, Bobby Burns. That's from high school English class. Also, don't forget to go to burlesque411.com and get all of your burlesque information, courtesy of our friend Lily Von Stupp. You can get her at Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. And also do not forget to go to the Monday Night Tease. That's the burlesque show presented by Lily Von Stupp and her partner Scarlet Letter. That is every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, every Monday night at 10 o'clock. Go and check it out. Is there a theme show this week?
No.
Last night was the Laugh-In theme show, but next week is you know what the theme is? Hot chicks getting naked. So go check it out. That'll be exciting. I heard a rumor about last night's show that I hope was not true. I hope there was not a gentleman who inserted something inside himself, but I don't know. That could have happened. Because again, my wife went and did her burlesque thing last night, and by burlesque thing, I mean she participated in the Laugh-In show, and she did the Ruth Buzzy character, and she had a hairnet on. My wife had a hairnet on, which was strangely hot, and I don't know. I don't know if I had a lunch lady vibe thing happening. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it's funny because Lily keeps trying to get my wife to do burlesque, or at least to come and do pickup and wear like a scanty costume. And again, I'm half and half. I'm like all for it, and yet I'm also in a position where I would want to punch everybody for staring at my wife's tits, because she's got a serious shelf, my wife. And but I did think of a great burlesque name for her. I thought this is her name. I thought of two, and the one that I think is great is Nipples Gonzalez. How do you not go with that? I think it looks good on the poster. I think it looks good everywhere. It looks good on the flyer. Looks good on the internet. Hey, let's welcome Nipples Gonzalez. My wife, not even Latin, but it doesn't fucking matter. Just go ahead and be Nipples Gonzalez, which I think is a much better choice than my second choice, Handjob Wilson. I don't think that works for anybody. I don't think Handjob Wilson is looking good, or maybe Whitebeard Jenkins. I don't think Whitebeard Jenkins works for anyone either. But that's fine. If these are your choices, Nipples Gonzalez. But although I got to be honest, I go see a show with Handjob Wilson, and I certainly see a show with Whitebeard Jenkins. If Handjob Wilson is there, can Whitebeard Jenkins be far behind? I think whenever Handjob Wilson shows up, Whitebeard Jenkins is literally 5 minutes away. With that, as soon as you get Whitebeard and Handjob in there, it's going to happen. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy, because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jag-off. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jag-off. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just, I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. 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 You're finished.